What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. UFC 300 just wrapped up less than 24 hours ago. And man, what can you say? What a card. Rare that a card with this much hype lives up to the expectations, but this one genuinely did. It had everything. It had comeback wins, it had last second knockouts, it had big underdogs, it had barn burner war fights. It just had everything. You know, there wasn't really one bad fight on the card. I know a lot of people want to say that Aljamain Sterling's performance was super boring, which it was, but you know, moving up a weight class, fighting a dangerous striker, rinse and repeat takedowns, I get it, but I'm gonna do something I don't always do. I'm gonna give Dana White some credit, respect to Dana. This was his little baby, and he did good. He fucking did good, They didn't fucking make the canvas gold or whatever like they did with 200, which I appreciated. Wasn't super fucking distracting, but nah, very very cool card. It's we get there's a card every weekend, so it's very easy to get like you get what's the word I'm looking for here? Complacent? Maybe not complacent, is not the word. You get spoiled. We've got a card every week. Normally it's like 8-week blocks, and then they take a week or two off, and then they come back with another 8 weeks. But yeah, this one nobody was too hyped. A week or two out, but then fight week came around, and everybody knew, this one's gonna be good. It took me, I wasn't that hyped until fucking the morning of the card, and even then, I woke up, I watched Jim Miller get smoked, and then I went to work and stayed away from all the results until I got home, and then I downloaded it and I watched it, no spoilers, so, I was watching it after the fact, and I was still fucking blown away by all of the incredible storylines that happened on this card. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So, main event. What can you say? Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill. I was picking Jamal going in. Not sure why. It was more of a hard pick. He was coming off that bad injury. I just like Jamal Hill. I like that stupid tattoo of the fucking thumbs up on his chest. I was hoping he was gonna smoke him and do the thumbs up, but nah. Alex Pereira, left hook from hell, fucking hell, man. That finishing sequence when Hill kicked him in the groin, and then Herb wanted to stop it, but Pereira just like, sorry brother, let me cook real quick, and fucking knocked Jamal Hill out cold with that left hook. He's got that touch of death. Some people just have it, and he has it. I saw there was a lot of talk this week about he scored a higher score than Francis Ngannou on that power cube, or whatever the fuck it's called. That it's like a punching machine, like those things that come down and measures your punch power. Well, apparently he scored higher than Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely fucking absurd. And even more absurd, the fact that he used to make middleweight. Quickly looking at the odds, he was a slight favorite. Whoever was on that Alex Pereira money line or by knockout is probably laughing their way to the bank right now. But yeah, less than 3 years in the UFC, Alex Pereira. Let's quickly have a look at his resume. He's absolutely done amazing things so far. Let's have a look. So yeah, gets into the UFC end of 2021 and his record is 3-1. He's got 4 professional MMA fights. And yeah, fucking, and then 3 fights in the UFC, gets a title shot. You know what I mean? That's unheard of. The only other person that comes to mind is like Yuri Procházka, and it normally only happens in these kind of weight classes that are a bit barren. You know, there's not that much going on. You know, and yeah, loses to Israel Adesanya. You know, and then moves up to light heavyweight and has just fucking ran through the division, except for Jan Blachowicz. That Jan Blachowicz came out looking pretty good after last night. People are putting some more credit on Jan Blachowicz's name. But yeah, Jamal Hill, where does he go from here? I'm not gonna lie, I had a moment of realization when I was watching the card. I was like, man, like Jamal Hill. I remember watching him on Contender Series. Fucking, when was that? 2020, 2021, 2019. Alexander Popadek. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, that's one of the best parts about being an MMA fan. You get to see these guys at the very beginning and then fucking, you know, achieve their dreams essentially. Like, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah, his only loss in the UFC was that fucking Paul Craig triangle armbar fucking where he dislocated his elbow or his shoulder or whatever. Yeah, his fucking broke his elbow. So yeah, hopefully Jamal goes away from that, makes some improvements. I saw there was a video come out in the week of Jamal's footwork. I think it came out on like a Monday or a Tuesday. Everybody was talking shit, you know, clowning him, saying his footwork's terrible. Alex Bahia's gonna fucking run through him. And yeah, you saw that a bit at the start of the fight. You know, Alex Bahia was just always in the perfect range, and Jamal Hill was always having to take these big steps to close the distance, and was just getting fucking clipped. But yeah, what do you do with Alex Bahia now? I know Yuri wants the winner. Do you do Yuri Alex again? Fuck it, why not? Why not? Dana, make it happen. Make it happen. But yeah, no, incredible performance. Cherry on top of the card, in my opinion. That was like the nice little dessert at the end after all the good stuff we'd had. Short and sweet. You know, it was nice. That brings us to the co-main event. We have Weili Zhang and Xiaonan. A lot of people didn't like this fight. I love this fight. It really pissed me off that there was a lot of people booing at UFC 300. It's like, can you imagine how expensive those tickets must have been? And then you're there fucking booing when people are grappling. You know, it's MMA, guys. But anyway, I picked Weili going in. She looked good, but I'll be honest, I was super impressed with Xiaonan. Like, I've always been very impressed with her. Like, she's been in the UFC forever. We've seen her fight everybody, you know. We've always known her Achilles heel is the grappling. But, bro, she conducted herself so well in this fight. You know, Weili's probably the most dangerous fighter in that whole division, besides maybe Talia Santos. You know, and Talia Santos' stand-up is not what Weili's is. And Xiaonan was able to fucking beat her on the feet, and when it went to the ground, she was able to stay safe enough to get back to her feet. You know, she got choked out at the end of the the first round. Weili takes her back. It was either the first or the second. Weili takes her back, and she's got the choke in. There's like 10 seconds left, and she's squeezing, and Xiaonan's on the arm a little bit, but like you can tell it's on, and she's just holding on. Like, she knows there's probably like fucking 10 seconds left. She's just like, okay, whatever happens here. I'm fucking, if I go out, I go out. It reminded me a bit of Holly Holm, Miesha Tate. I feel like Holly probably had that same thought. She was like, listen, not a lot of time left. All I know is I'm not gonna fucking tap. And fucking Xiaonan did not tap, you know. Respect to Jason Herzog. So the bell goes, Weili lets go with the choke. All the blood rushes back to Xiaonan's head, and you can see her. She stumbles, kind of like a drunk person, kind of like you can see she comes back, She doesn't really know where she is, but she had the fucking wherewithal to stand up, which was fucking. That's the definition of the dog, bro. She had that fucking dog in her. She wasn't gonna lose. And then, and then she loses the next round at 10-8. She just gets controlled, ground and pounded. But then I scored the round 3 for Xiaonan. You know, she dropped Weili. You know, she could have potentially won the fourth if Weili didn't take her down and get on her back and get that control. But Xiaonan was piecing Weili up on the feet. And yeah, she looked great. You know, her stock only rose from this loss, in my opinion. Um, Very cool. First ever double Chinese, two Chinese fighters to fight for a title against each other. We don't see that so much. Like, you'll see the odd Brazilian versus Brazilian for a title, or American versus American for a title. You know, we had Adesanya Whitaker, which is not really the same, but you know, Australasia, fucking Oceania, whatever the fuck it's called. You know, you get, you know, sometimes guys from similar regions, but this was cool. Two Chinese fighters fighting for a belt, you know, top of their division, number one contender in the champ. Like, that shit beautiful. But yeah, no, super impressed with both these ladies. Really fun fight. And yeah, so good. What a good card, man. It's rare that you're like this like, we're a day removed and I'm still high off of this fucking card, to be honest. And that brings us to the BMF title. And man, what can you say about fucking Max Holloway? What can you say? Like, there mustn't be one person who's a UFC fan that doesn't love Max Holloway. Like, the guy's been around forever, fought everybody, never said no to a scrap. You know, cool as fuck, cool as you like. And yeah, just came in here and would not be denied. You know, I scored the first 3 rounds for Max. I thought he had volume. Justin, he looked like he didn't really have any answers. You know, it looked like Max's movement and pressure was kind of confusing him. And the fact that the leg kicks they were landing, but they weren't taking a toll, they were probably taking a toll, but Max wasn't showing the effects like a lot of other fighters eventually do, you know. And yeah, I don't know how Max ate so many leg kicks and just fucking kept going. I scored the fourth for Gaethje. And don't get me wrong, there might have been a round in there for Gaethje, you know, but yeah, Max just fucking put a pace on him. And then, like we all know, end of the 5th round, Max Classic pulls him into a slugfest, just like he did against Ricardo Lamas. He calls him to the center of the cage, 10 seconds left, points down to the middle of the cage and said, let's fucking go. The boys start fucking slugging it out, brawling. And Max, he's just, for every one that Justin threw, Max had 3 coming back. And yeah, he just caught him with a perfect left hook as Justin was going to throw an uppercut, and fucking slept him face first. You know, it's always bad when you see a dude go down face first. But just remembered, respect to Justin Gaethje, man. Like, he broke his nose at the end of that first round with Max threw a spinning back kick to the body, but Justin like dipped his head down and it caught him right on the nose, broke his nose. The dog you have to have in you to fight 20 more minutes with a broken nose is insane. Like, it gave me shades of Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler. Like, I think Rory broke his nose at the end of the 2nd round, and you know, he couldn't make it to the final bell. Justin was getting touched like for the whole fight on that nose. Bop 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 bop, kept getting touched, and he never quit on himself. Like, in the 2nd round, he got 2 really bad eye pokes back to back in both eyes, different, but like one in each eye. And he didn't even take more than like 40 seconds before he got back into the fight. Like, Justin Gaethje is fucking built different. You know, he's just a fucking legend. Like, fighter's fighter. You know, I'm worried. No, I shouldn't say worried. You know, it's just part of the game. But what's Justin gonna be like when he's 50? You know, obviously, you know he knows what he's getting into. You know, life of a fighter and all that. But it's tough to see him get slept like that, knowing all the damage that he's taken, and you know how he talks about how you know he's only got a couple of wars left in him, and then he has to hang him up. So, you know, the definition of a BMF, both these guys, definition of the BMF. And cool that Max got 600k. You know, Justin got a fight of the night too. But yeah, the boys deserve so much more, so much more. But listen, that's the fight game. What do you do with Max now? Hopefully he goes down. See, I don't even want to see him go back to. Obviously, I want to see him fight Taporia. But just seeing how he looked at lightweight, like his body filled out, his frame looking good, you know? Like, I remember I saw him, like, walking in the tunnel just before he was about to come out to the crowd. And he looked like the old Max Holloway. I don't know if it was because he's got the old haircut back, but, man, he looked like the fucking Max Holloway that fought Ricardo Lamos. Like, he had the shaved sides, like the bit of a mullet looking thing. Man, Max the fucking guy. The fucking guy. And it's cool to see him get his flowers, you know, after the last couple of years that he's had with with the Volk fights and the Volk fights. Basically, nobody's been able to beat him besides Volk. But yeah, look at that. 51% of the people picking Gaethje thought he was going to knock him out. I thought he was going to knock him out, you know? Look at that. 33%. Ah, man, if you had Holloway by decision, you'd have been sickened. Fucking 1 second left. God knows I probably would have fucking had it. But, yeah, no. But, yeah, what a fucking card, man. And we're only fucking 3 fights. So much more. That brings us to Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. I was picking Arman going in by decision. You know, we got it done. I see a lot of people calling for robbery. I don't know how you could call for robbery. Charles was on his back the whole time. Don't get me wrong, he was throwing up submissions and trying to work, doing elbows, but, you know, Arman, he got the takedowns, initiated the takedowns, held the position. You know, you got to give it control, and he was landing lovely elbows. Charles was deep on a ghillie at the end of the first round. But I was shouting, like, as the fight was going. I knew Arman wasn't going to get tapped by that ghillie. Like, John Anik said it on the broadcast, but I was thinking it too. It gave me shades of Volkanovski and Ortega vibes, where you could just see it in his eyes. He was pushing and pulling and pushing and squirming. And, like, if you ever, like, put ghillies on people, you don't want them to be moving like that. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, Arman's different. He's not getting ghillied. It's different. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it in his eyes. He wasn't gonna go out. And just like you could see it in Volk's eyes, he was like, nah, I'm not going out like this. And yeah, I felt like Charles kind of deflated a bit after he couldn't get that ghillie. He was like, damn, that was my best fucking move, and he got out. And yeah, his head positioning on the ground from Arman was beautiful. Like, he never let Charles, you know, get his hips going, you know, with any submissions or anything like that. And yeah, that was pretty much the fight. Arman taking him down, holding him in guard, throwing elbows, defending submissions and sweeps. You know, workman-like performance by Arman Tsarukyan, you know. I've been saying it, future champion, you know. I think it's been 5 years since the Islam debut, and yeah, he's made some fucking incredible improvements since that Islam fight. But yeah, weirdly enough, Arman punched a guy on the way to the fucking cage. I seen a video this morning. It was a fan flipping him off, like giving him the fingers, like in his face as he's walking out, and Arman was just like, nah, fuck that, you're gonna flip me off, I'm gonna give you one back. And bro, it was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, as it was happening live, I was like, no, Arman, focus. You got a fucking biggest fight of your life. Don't be fighting the fucking crowd right now. But did not affect him one bit. Just fucking workmanlike, came out, got the job done. Yeah, super impressive. Super impressive, you know. I saw Dustin, they announced on the broadcast Dustin's getting the next shot, but Arman, he could fight another fight, he could wait, but he's definitely in line. And that brings us to the first fight on the pay-per-view. Bo Nickal, Cody Brundage. A lot of people saying Bo Nickal industry plant, you know, giving him a nice matchup in Cody Brundage, but you know, Cody Brundage is, you know, it'd be in the top 50 of is it welter? Yeah, about welter. I mean, the top 50 of welter, but and Bo Nickal had his hands full. You know, don't get me wrong. He dominated, but it wasn't like he normally dominates. If you know what I'm saying, like he didn't just drop him and then insta sub him. You know what I mean? He couldn't really get his hands going, so he switched it to the wrestling. Was able to get his takedowns, but to consolidate position was not so easy for him. You know, Cody Brundage had good defense. You know, but I feel like the pressure just kind of broke Cody eventually. You know, he was just on the defensive permanently, and you know what it's like. If you ever tried jiu-jitsu or whatever, like when you're always on the defensive, it's like it's a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like if you can feel, it's like each attempt is getting closer and closer. It's like shit, I need to get out of here, or you know, something's gonna happen. And yeah, once Bo Nickal mounted Cody Brundage, I could see it was the beginning of the end. He could not get him out of mount. His coach Montoya was shouting, "You need to hook his leg with your leg," and he just couldn't. He couldn't buck him. He couldn't bridge and roll. Bo Nickal's top control must be just absolute hell. You know what I mean? And yeah, then eventually, you know, he tried to power up, you know, muscle his way up. Bo Nickal got on the back and was able to get the rear naked. You know, where does Bo Nickal go from here? Not 100% sure. The UFC obviously really like him, so they'll give him a few nice matchups. But yeah, fucking fun fight, but I guarantee you it wasn't what the UFC thought it was going to be. They thought Bo was going to go out there, smoke this kid, open up the pay-per-view with a bang, but not really. I'll tell you what did fucking have a bang. The fight right before it. Yuri Procházka against Aleksandar Rakić. Man, this was fun. This was really fun. Another cool thing about this was the UFC, I liked what they did. At the start of the prelims, they did the old school UFC package with like the gladiator music and face the pain, and like they had the boys talking in black and white like they used to do in the old days on the pay-per-view. I liked it. It was a nice tip of the cap to the old days, you know what I mean? But yeah, Yuri, man, he came out here. Took him a minute to find his distance and his range. Rakić looked great for a guy who'd been away for 2 years. You know, he got on that leg kick early and often and just started beating up Yuri's leg. And then Yuri started the second round. I think he had a realization, like he was getting PTSD flashbacks from that Pereira fight where Pereira just like calf kicked him until Yuri was like, okay, I can't take any more calf kicks. I gotta wade through the fire, and then he got clipped with that left hook. But same thing kind of happened here. Yuri was like, all right, fuck, I can't just hang out. I gotta just put it on Rakić here. So then he wades through the fire, marches forward, gets in a crazy brawl, and ends up catching Rakić in a back and forth exchange. Rakić kind of stumbles, and then Yuri just puts the pressure on him, doesn't give him a break, pushes him up against the fence, lands a big knee, which hurts Rakić, then flurries on him, and then Rakić tries to get out of the exchange, and in the scramble, Yuri's able to basically like pull him to the ground, and then once he got on top, it was game over. Herb jumps in, or Herzog, whoever it was, and yeah. It was nice, man. I'm a big Yuri fan, you know, and there was a bit of shit talk going into this one. Rakić saying that he doesn't think Yuri's a samurai, and Yuri took it personal, you know. Yeah, even it was beautiful on the mic after. He's like, I am a samurai, but I live by the Bushido, Musashi style, and you know, it serves me well. And bro, I fucking love it. You know, we need more Yuri Procházkas in the sport. Some fucking individuals, you know, who are different. You know, everybody's, you know, and everybody's not the same, but it's a lot of, when you got that many cards every week, it's hard to stand out because you're part of this ginormous machine. But Yuri, he's one of those guys that does stand out, and we love him for it. He got the bonus, he got his 300k. I saw after the interview with him in the Schmo after, and he was saying how, you know, the 300k is great, but it's not about the money. It's about, you know, he was born, put on this earth to do what he's doing right there, you know. He would have been a fucking samurai if he was around back in the day, you know. And yeah, it's just inside of him. He is a fucking true warrior. And I hope they make that Alex Pereira fight next for Yuri, because, you know, I love rematches, you know. I'd love to see what he looks like in a rematch. Anyway, before that, we had Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. And this fight, I'm not going to lie, it sucked the air out of the arena a bit. You know, it was the first time I heard the fans booing since the Renato Moicano fight. But, yeah, Aljo, he didn't want that 30k anyway, I'll tell you that. Or 300k. Yeah, Aljo, he looked good. He dominated 30-27, won every round. But at no point ever really came anywhere close to a finish. You know, either from a submission or from ground and pound. Calvin Kattar looked fucking lost out there. Like, he looked frozen in time. Like, I'd love to see. Let's see. Can we find the all fight metrics? I'd love to see how much. How many shots. How many shots Yuri landed? Whoopsies. Fight matrix. Fight metric. Whoops. Here we go. Sorry about this, lads. I just need to know, because in my head, Calvin Kattar threw like 10 fucking shots or something. So, yeah, Calvin Kattar, he landed 8 significant strikes, which is absolutely absurd. A 15-minute fight, he landed 8 strikes, so he's averaging like 3.3 strikes a fucking round or whatever. I'm fucking shit at maths, whatever. But yeah, not the best old performance from our boy Calvin Kattar. But we were picking Aljo going in. We're big Aljo fans. I was happy for him, but you're on 300, bro. Like, everybody else stepped it up. I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I know Dana, I don't know, does he always do it, but apparently Dana goes in to the locker room before the card starts and gives the boys like a fucking, you know, kind of a pep talk kind of thing. And I'd love that. I love the idea of like him going into the fucking locker room and he's like, boys, this is fucking UFC 300, you know what I mean? This is the biggest card of all time. Put it all out there, you know. 300k for, you know, for the performances, so let's go out in there and get some big performances. And then Aljo fucking goes out and doesn't even try and finish, puts on a real boring 30-27. You know, it's not that it was boring, it's just that all of the other fights were so crazy and fun that, and they're pretty much all finishes. Yeah, we're coming off a fucking, besides the Jessica Andrade and Jim Miller, but they were great fights. Coming off a load of finishes, and then that Aljo was a stinker. And they didn't even give him a fucking post-fight interview. I bet Dana had a hand in that. He was like, no. Like, they had loads of time. They were just coming off 2 finishes. You know, they had time. They could have given an interview, but they were like, nah, fuck him. He gives us a boring decision like that. He's not getting any fucking time. I love the idea that Dana made the Calvin Kattar fight as well, because Calvin Cater's from Boston, just like Dana. And Dana loves anything Boston. So in Dana's head, he was like, 300, give him Kattar, man. Fucking Kattar, my Boston boy will smoke him. And nah, he just got fucking ragdolled. But good win for Aljo. You know, they're probably not going to give him a big name after a performance like that, you know, but I love to see it. Next up, we had Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. Kayla Harrison, the real deal. I've always been not a huge Holly Holm fan, but I've always really liked Holly Holm. I just like everything about her style, her vibe, everything. She just seems like a cool bird. A lot of people hate on her style. They're like, no more Holly Holm decisions, but listen. Who else we got at women's fucking bantamweight? There's nobody else. So yeah, the UFC, they were like, can we repeat Holly Ronda 1? And they couldn't. Kayla Harrison looked fucking huge. Like, her back looked humongous. And yeah, and anytime they locked up, you could tell, like, there was definitely a strength edge on the Kayla Harrison side. Holly, though, you know, respect to her. She fought fire with fire. She even tried to take Kayla down at one point. You know, she hung out in the clinch with her for extended periods. You know, she looked good, but as soon as Kayla was able to get Holly down, it was night and day. At one point, she had her like smushed up against the fence. Holly's head was like, her neck was against the fence. Kayla postures up and drops like 8 heavy elbows back to back with like 20 seconds left in the first round. I was cringing. I was actually cringing because they looked so vicious, and the blunt force trauma. Like, I was worried. 41-year-old Holly, man. I was like, where's Greg Jackson? Throw the towel. Yeah. A vicious performance by Kayla. Kayla, man, she could easily rule this fucking bantamweight division now for a long time. No Amanda Nunes there to stop her. Yeah, really dominant performance by Kayla Harrison. Very impressed. But one thing I did think, though, when I was watching this, Tatiana Suarez. I would love to see her against Tatiana Suarez. High-level judo versus high-level wrestling. I think the high-level wrestling will come out on top, you know what I mean? But take nothing away from Kayla. Phenomenal performance. Yeah. R.I.P. Holly, you know? I feel like the UFC are starting to send her off to the glue factory now with these matchups, you know? Feeding her to the young ones. I hope not. I don't want Holly to be made into adhesive. I want her to fight. Give her Betch Correia. You know what I mean? I think she already smoked Betch Correia, but give her Betch again. You know? Give her a win. Let her retire. She's 42. Preacher's daughter. But anyway, that brings us to the first fight on the prelims. Diego Lopes versus Sodiq Yusuff. And I feel like the UFC should have given Diego Lopes a fucking bonus. Like, I think I saw the gate. The gate was 16.5 million just on the gate. You know, like, not including the pay-per-views, all the sponsorships, all the money the UFC are making on the back end. They cut, and Diego Lopes fucking came out there, finished Sodiq Yusuff, who is very hard to finish. You know, I'm trying to think, has he ever been finished? Yeah, he's been knocked out twice. Yeah, by who though? So we got slammed by Luis Gomez back in 2017 in Titan FC. And then, yeah, he hasn't been finished since, you know. He's been to decisions with Edson, Arnold Allen, you know. So yeah, very hard guy to finish, and Diego Lopes, known as a grappler, just came out there and fucking put it on him, put him away, dropped him twice in the first minute, mounted him, just vicious ground and pound, forcing Herzog to stop it. Then he fucking runs over the cage, runs up to Dana and says, "Hey, I want the fucking bonus. I just smoked this dude." Dana doesn't give him the fucking bonus. You know, I hope that he cut him a little check in the back, but like, what the fuck? The UFC are so fucking stingy. They don't want anybody fucking knowing what anybody's getting or anything. I hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, Diego Lopes is probably making, like, you know, he's only had a couple of fights in the UFC. He's probably on 30 and 30, 40 and 40, you know, maybe 50 and 50, you know, but probably not, you know, and he needs that bonus. You know, he's going out with Alexa Grasso, for fuck's sake. He needs money for fucking dates and fucking whatever else the fuck they do. But yeah, not Dana, not tonight. But yeah, great performance. And yeah, like, once that fucking finish happened, we were off to the races. I was like, yo, this is fucking insane. This is insane. Before that, the main event on the Fight Pass prelims, Renato Moicano versus Jalin Turner. This one made me very happy. I was rooting for Renato Moicano. I picked Jalin, you know, the obvious pick. Like I said, if Renato can get him down, he can tap him. But he can finish him. But yeah, Jalin, like, did the Jalin thing. You know, but I did say Jalin does get tired after a round and a half. Look at that Dan Hooker fight. You know, look at the fucking Mateusz Gamrot fight. And Renato Moicano did not get dissuaded. Like, he got dropped. Jalin thought he had a walk-away knockout. He walked away with 10 seconds left. Herb said, nah, keep going. And what a fucking good decision that was by Herb, you know. And then started the second round. Renato gets hurt again. And then he's like, alright, fuck it, I gotta get this takedown. Gets the takedown, and he just piles the pressure on. He did a really nice thing, DC pointed out, where he just wanted that three-quarter guard. He didn't want mount, he just wanted that three-quarter guard. You know, the people always talk about Randy Couture loved the half guard for control, you know, and it was basically that. He got that three-quarter guard, pinned that bottom leg, and just started letting his fucking hands go. Because he knew eventually fucking Moicano would try and book him. And then when he booked, he could end up in the mount. He ends up in the mount. But then Jalin kind of turns away and just kind of, like, obviously, you know, he was getting ground and pounded. But, you know, there wasn't a lot of time left. DC was saying, no, he needs to book and just keep going, just keep fighting. But ref stopped it. Incredible comeback win for Moicano. Moicano gets on the microphone after, does his money Moicano fucking spiel, says he loves the First Amendment. Oh man, like, it's funny, bro. Like, it's funny that his name's Renato, and there's this other guy, Renato Laranja, from back in the day, and their vibe is very similar. Like, when he got on the fucking mic, and he was like, "I love America. I love the First Amendment." It was perfect. It was fucking perfect. He was like, I know I'm not going to get the bonus because I'm cursing, but fuck that. And I was like, give that man a bonus. Didn't give him a bonus. Fuck the UFC. I can't afford to lose. He kept saying, I really liked it. This one was very enjoyable. And this was the prelims. You know, that just speaks to the fucking... The UFC got this one right. They don't always get it right, and it doesn't always live up to the hype, but they got this one right. Before that, Jéssica Andrade, Marina Rodriguez. I'll be honest with you, lads. I wasn't really paying the most attention to this fight. I'm pretty sure I was just about leaving for work. I just watched Jim Miller get fucking smushed. I was feeling sad. I love both these birds. I like Jéssica Andrade, I like Marina. But yeah. I watched it back when I got home. Close kickboxing fight. Could have went either way. It all depends what you scored more. Marina Rodriguez's stand-up or Jéssica Andrade's top control. I personally gave him Marina Rodriguez, but I'm not mad at it. You know, it's just one of those fights. And before that, Bobby Green versus Jim Miller. This was very fun. I scored the first round for Jim. You know, Jim, classic Jim, came out looking good, came out hot. But then the fight just got away from him. Bobby just started piecing him up. Just like we said he would. I called it in the predictions. I said Bobby by decision. My heart wants Jim to win, but Bobby by decision is probably the bet. And yeah, Bobby, he just got the rhythm, you know. He got his timing. You know, he's so good at, like, he keeps his hands down and he wants you to throw. And the second you throw, he's dipping his head and he's coming back with something. Very hard style to fight, you know. And Jim ran out of gas, ran out of ideas, and but he's just tough as fuck and just stayed in there. And he wasn't going to be put away. And it was cool, you know. Two veterans getting their shine on UFC 300, getting their love. Would have loved to see Jim, you know, get a win. You know, he won on 100, won on 200. Would have been a fairy tale story. He got the win on 300, but that's life. We don't always get everything, but take nothing away from Jim Miller or Bobby Green. Two fucking legends. And yeah, hopefully Jim doesn't retire. You know, I'd love to see him, you know, selfishly get one more win and then hang him up maybe if they give him a fight out. And I'm trying to think, is he from Colorado? He trains in a very small gym that he runs himself with his brother Dan. But I can't, for the life of me, think where it is. We'll quickly have a look. Somebody watching this video shouting. It's like, it's fucking, where is he? Sussex County. So he's from Sussex, but where? New Jersey, of course. From New Jersey. Sussex County, New Jersey. MMA. That's his team. Let's have a quick look. Who are the fighters out of Sussex County? We got Jim Miller. Their other best guy is a 4-0, Jim Fitzpatrick. Then they got Joey Tizano. And then everybody else is basically amateur. So respect to fucking Jim, man. He's running a gym, fighting at the highest level. 26-17 in the UFC, man. Like, that is something. 2008 to 2024, man. That's fucking incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. So yeah, nothing but love for both the boys. And that brings us to the first fight of the night. Everybody was super hyped for this one. Cody No Love against Deiveson Figueiredo. And yeah, it was a fun fight. It was a very fun fight. Both guys looked a bit nervous, or not nervous. Nervous the wrong word. Like they looked like they knew this was a big moment. First fight on the card, prelims, 300. You know, Figgy looked very composed. Cody always looks like Cody. Super fast, real good for that first round. You know, he was doing a lot of crazy shit in this one. Like he threw that weird leg kick. It's kind of like it looks like a fucking breakdancing move. Like 20 seconds into the fight, he went leg kick, weird fucking breakdancing leg kick or whatever the fuck that's called. Like we know what Cody wants. He wants to feint, fucking throw a lot of fucking flurry with hooks. And he tried to get that going against Figueiredo, but Figgy was smart, man. He kept mixing in the wrestling, which people don't do enough against Cody, you know, and especially because he's got such fast hands. And yeah, Figgy was able to get on his back. There was one cool moment actually before that where Figgy threw a body kick just as Cody was going for a cartwheel kick, and he ended up kicking Cody in the face while he was on one hand doing a cartwheel kick, which I'd never seen before. I thought that was very cool. But then, story of the fight was, second round starts. Figgy's able to start getting his takedown game going, and then once he mounted Cody, it was basically the beginning of the end. Cody had no answers. Cody was stuck in an arm triangle for like 2-3 minutes, and then once he got out the arm triangle, Figgy got his back, and that was the beginning of the end. He had the rear naked within 20
25 seconds of taking Cody's back. I felt a bit bad for Cody. You know, there goes the run for the title at bantamweight. But, you know, like, if you were around to see the rise of Cody, it's sad to see what happened right now, but it's also, like, just a credit to fucking how talented the guy was. To go fucking undefeated all the way to the greatest bantamweight at the time, Dom, and then have a masterclass against him, like, that'll live on forever in MMA history. But, you know, hopefully they give him a few nice matchups now. Give him somebody who isn't Figgy, you know. Give him, like, obviously Cody's on that former champion contract, so he's getting nice money, so they don't want to give him anybody too easy. But, yeah, give him a nice matchup. Give him a fucking, what's that guy who loves the guillotine? Boom. Ah, fuck. His name's escaping me. Brian something. I can't remember. He looks a bit like Mac Miller. But yeah, Brian. Give him. For some reason, Brian Caraway keeps coming into my mind, but I know Brian Caraway's not in the UFC. Brian Kelleher, that's it. Brian Kelleher. Give him a Brian Kelleher. Give him somebody like that. You know what I mean? There's fights out there for Cody. And Figgy, you know, he proves he belongs at bantamweight. Give him a top 10 guy. But yeah, that was that. That was the old UFC 300. And yeah, fucking fair play to the UFC. They got it right. Not always you say that, but they got it right. All the fights were great. You know, the card lived up to the hype. Yeah, I'm still buzzing. With 24 hours removed, I'm still buzzing off of that. But thanks for watching the video, guys. If you can, leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And I'm going to try to get out a video this week about the legend of the knee bar guy. I need to do a little bit more research, but hopefully I'll have something out this week going over the knee bar guy. And until then, guys, I will catch you in the next one.